Listen, I lead a fairly positive channel. My channel is fairly positive with all the, well, I don't even like to call them reviews. They're just natural thoughts that pop up out of my head, and I just sort of like blurt out whatever comes out of my head. Reviews are more structured and have like, some sort of balance. But I feel like when I have to share my thoughts, regardless of the film, I have to be honest. And most of the time, I am honest with you guys. Well, actually, I'm honest 99.9% of the time because I tend to lean more positive. So that 1% is the level of positivity that kind of tries to overcome the honesty sometimes. So I feel like when I run into a film that may or may not conflict with my positivity based on a subject or where a certain film's, trajectory. See, I even got fumbled there for a second. The trajectory of a film, when it's compromised, it fumbles me. So deep down, I have to talk about this movie, even though this movie came out in 2009, okay? Came out in 2009, and now I'm finally watching it because I got interested and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't such a bad movie. I mean, mind you, I'm going into this movie with this in mind, okay? This Rotten Tomato score right here. So, yeah, I was like, you know what? It can't be. It can't be that bad. I mean, it's a Street Fighter movie, right? It's a movie that is Street Fighter in essence, so it has to be good in some way, right? Well, when it comes to Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li, it's a really tough call. Now, right off the bat, if you haven't watched this movie, I'm going to mention spoilers, but it's not even worth putting up, the spoiler warning or anything. I will talk about it. This movie's from 2009, so if you haven't watched it already, I'm going to spoil a lot of things. I'm going to talk about things that happen in the movie, and if you didn't watch the movie, whatever, because honestly, if I spoil the entire movie for you, it's going to be a better time, spent in 30 minutes of video or so than actually sitting and watching this movie. But honestly, before I can even get into the negatives that this movie has, I have to talk about at least some of the positives. So let's start off with the casting of this film. We have Kristen Kruk, who is an excellent actress, obviously coming off of, Smallville, and then, she did a few series here and there, and a few films, that didn't blow up as much. But she's a great actress. She's a great actress. Then you move on to, the guy from American Pie, Chris Klein. He's in this movie. I don't even know why he's in this movie. He is a great actor. Okay? So let's just push that aside. He is not a bad actor. He's a good actor. But we will get into his character later on. Then you have Neil McDonough, who is a very, powerful actor, famous for a bunch of other different roles that he's done, in other films. But obviously, this film just didn't do it for him. Then you have the biggest surprise of them all, which is Michael Clark Duncan. Listen, deep down, I think that somebody over at Capcom had some sort of dirt on him and said, hey, you have to do this movie or else. And he decided to do the movie. Because honestly, why would such a high caliber actor like Michael Clark Duncan be doing in this movie? Mind you, it's not based on the length of his character in this film, because he's a lot more in this film than he is in, say, The Island, which I think is a way better movie, and I think is probably one of Michael Bay's best movies. But nonetheless, he is in this movie, Michael Clark Duncan, which kind of blew my mind. Don't know why he would be here, but he's a great actor as well, and that also ensues with everybody else that is in this movie. I would say that 90% of the people who pop up in this movie are great actors. They're fantastic actors. They're skilled. They're really going at it with whatever they have in them to actually make something positive out of this film. So in terms of casting, they did a great job. I think Kristen Krug is very, facially similar to, the character of Chun-Li. I think facially speaking, she is very similar to Chun-Li. But otherwise, there are differences in that character. And honestly, she doesn't have to have any other physical features to look like that character. But I feel like since we're already digging deep into the Chun-Li character, I'd expect a little bit more out of, the writing and script. But nonetheless, we're going to get to the weaknesses later. Casting-wise, they did great. Another great thing that they have in this movie is the fight choreography. The fight choreography is actually really well directed, fast-paced, fun, it's exciting. When action is happening in this movie, I would say those are the high points of this movie. Like, those are the only high points of this movie. The fight sequences, I would say. Like, it's really quick. The shots are really well made. There's some levity to the character. You can see this sort of the mysticism of it all, that she has like some sort of like really hardcore training to actually take on, hordes and hordes of bad guys. But nonetheless, in this situation, I feel like the high points of the movie are the fight sequences. And I think the third and possibly the final redeeming factor of this movie is how it begins. The starting, like maybe the first 5 minutes or so of this movie are actually really well done. Really well done. I feel like you see like this like essence of her and her father and her growing up, and you see her training next to her dad. Like, honestly, those 5 minutes alone, it like, honestly, like, just go to a streaming service that has this. It's probably on Freevee or any of these like really free, like low budget, movie streaming services. Go watch it and just watch the very first 5 minutes. That's all you're gonna want to watch of this movie, because I feel like the other 95% of this movie was written by, I don't know, a potato. I don't know. We're honestly, let's all the good stuff, beginning of the movie, casting, and obviously the fight sequences. Those are all the good things. Now let's get into the bad. So what could be possibly so bad about this movie that makes me want to actually talk about it? Well, let's talk about the writing. I honestly, like, it baffles me how bland and flat the writing is of this movie. Like, why? Why make a movie that you are going to be like, not having some sort of like in-depth character analysis that actually builds on that character? The characters fall flat. Honestly, like, I want to feel deep emotional connection to a character, and the script did none of that. Honestly, like I feel more connection to Chun-Li in the video game without having known her backstory than having watched this film and seen everything that goes on in this film. Like, it just feels flat. There's no true depth or emotion in the writing that actually I can sit here and say, like, oh, this is a great film. No, the writing is very flat. And honestly, like, if you're gonna be dealing with something on the level of a classic like Street Fighter, at least do a little bit of hard work and actually tell a deep and loving story for this character, because honestly, this is not where it's at. Characters say things like, wow, I wonder what this means. Like, wait a second. Like, can't you just convey that from like the acting on someone's face or the subtleties, or have some sort of build to that moment? Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is the movie that I feel like would work perfectly for like someone who's 4 or 5 years old, who's just like sitting there just watching the TV, like, cool fight sequences. Like, that's all this movie is. This works for 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, okay? Like, if you have any like semblance of, if you're 12 and you have some idea of how films are made, then in that case, you'll probably have a better time with this film, because otherwise it's like, oh my god, how would they conceive this film without having some sort of outline or focus on how to take the story somewhere? Because otherwise it's just bland. And truly, the logic of this film is completely off too. Like, there is a scene in this film where, I kid you not, there are moments where they insinuate showing a tattoo on a hand of a spider web, and you see that tattoo, and you see that tattoo twice, and like, obviously they're insinuating something. And then obviously they have a moment where like Chun-Li takes a scroll that she receives, and it's like, oh, this is the scroll of, that's gonna tell you about, where you need to go or who you need to see and stuff. And then like this lady opens up a book, and right in a page she sees the symbol of that spider web, and suddenly she looks at it, and there's a flashback to something you saw literally, no joke, literally 30 seconds prior to that scene happening. Why would you need to insert a flashback to something that you just saw 30 seconds prior to that? You know what you do in a scene like that? She sees the symbol, and then she starts to realize and connect things in her head, and suddenly she should have just turned around and started looking for this guy that she just saw 30 seconds prior right behind her. That's logic. That's all it is. It just needs to have a little bit of logic in order for it to work. So that is a problem that I truly think that's just one example. There's multiple examples. I mean, heck, she is someone who lives in a big house, has money. She has, butlers and assistants and people who can cook for her. She's essentially a Lara Croft level character. Yet the scroll or whatever tells her that she needs to give all that up and live in humility in order to truly fulfill her powers. And now she's struggling. And then suddenly you see there's like moments where she's like, man, life is really tough on these streets. Like, wait a second. You got all this money and this is what you're going to deal with? It's freaking exhausting. I was like, why? Why the heck would they put a character through that, being that she has all the technology and all the resources in the world to reach out and find this sort of stuff? Like, heck, even Lara Croft, the movie Lara Croft, the one with, Angelina Jolie, that movie, even with all the camp that you also see in this one, by the way, but even with all the campiness that you get from this version, from that version of Lara Croft with Angelina Jolie, even with all that, that movie is worlds better than this movie. Worlds better than this movie. Okay? Like, come on. Like, use your better judgment and make a better story. And I don't want these stories, specifically this one. I honestly, like, how can you make the story feel almost laughable? Like, there are action sequences in the movie where, like, oh, it's gonna blow up, and then you can see that the CG just really isn't there. I mean, here's the thing, and I feel like right now is the most important time to actually mention this. This movie is from 2009. I'm gonna repeat that so that it's ingrained in your brain, okay? It's 2009. Do you know what other film came out in 2009? I'm just gonna give you a hint, right? Yeah. Avatar. Avatar came out in 2009, okay? And we're getting like $100 Fiverr level, I'm not even gonna go as far as saying that this is Fiverr level CG, okay? Because, dude, I'm pretty sure people on Fiverr can do much better than what was in this film, okay? Like, what the heck? Like, was Capcom literally like so anxious that they were like, we have to make a Street Fighter movie and we have to make something like right now, so cobble something together and we'll make a movie? Like, no, like this movie would have worked way better. I'm not even joking you. I'm not even gonna joke you right now. This movie would have worked better if it was like, say, anywhere between 45 to 50 minutes long. Honestly, like, I still think that this movie is probably over 50 minutes longer than it needs to be. And mind you, I'm someone who loves long movies. Heck, Avatar is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Fire and Ash and Way of Water, all those movies are really long. They're over 2 hours, they're great movies. Heck, Endgame, which is 3 hours long. I love that movie. That movie has so much story and so much lore and so many Easter eggs and connections and it's so much better. I love long movies. This movie is 1 hour and 36 minutes. Let's put it like this. It's a 90-minute movie. This movie would have been better as a 50-minute movie, and it would have been way better because you could tighten up moments. You could take out all the moments where you see the guy from American Pie and his assistant, and they're out there doing investigations, and like the scenes are sort of cheesy and like predictable. Like, how do you fumble? How do you fumble Chun-Li? Like, how? It makes no sense. How do you fumble this? Like, my God, one of the most beloved female video game characters of all time, and you fumble it. How? With a great cast too. Like, how do you do that? And then in the end, I honestly I was questioning my better judgment. I was like, you know what? I want to see. I'm gonna be straightforward with you. The only reason why I watch this movie is because I want to see Kristen Krug in something. Okay, because I've never seen her in Smallville, even though I know of her Smallville, background. I know that she's done other TV shows and movies. I know that, but I wanted to see her in something. And I feel like if you're gonna watch something that she is in, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna have a better time watching Smallville. Even though I've never watched Smallville, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a better time with that than this film. I feel like she is a great actress, absolutely great actress. And they wrote a shitty script and gave it to her, and she had to do what she had to do with the script, which to me just makes no sense because you're literally holding this actor's livelihood in your hand, and ultimately you're just fumbling it away. So it is really hard for me to sit here and just accept it because it just makes no sense to me that this movie can be made and someone fumble it as hard as they did. So yeah, I feel like I need to take a breather now just to process all that. So now that I got all of that out of the way, I am still gonna end on a positive note because I feel like it's unfair for me to make this rant on this film and not be positive in the end. So this is what I'm gonna suggest. Even though I had a bad time with this movie, I am gonna suggest you go and watch it for yourselves. Because I feel like it is unfair for me to sit here and judge this film, being that, sure, it's not a good movie, but that's my opinion of the movie. I want you guys to go and form your own opinions on this film as well. So go and watch this movie. I think that as bad as I may have had it, I don't think that all people who watch this movie are going to have a bad time. So, heck, just give it a try. Just sit back, watch the movie, reflect a little bit on your experience, and then come back and let's have this discussion, because I would love to have this discussion with you guys right here. And while you're here, I want to hear more about it. I want to hear more about your experiences with Chun-Li. Did you grow up playing Street Fighter? Did you like playing as Chun-Li over, say, Ryu or Cammy or, any one of the other characters in Street Fighter? I want to know. I want to know exactly what you think down in the comments below, whether it is about this movie or even Street Fighter as the game in general. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.
Scrolling through YouTube, same old routine, then bam, movie savant, what a scene. Trivia bombshells dropping knowledge like rain. Forget the dishes, gotta watch it again. Movie buffs unite, savants to place. Subscribe and hit the bell, don't leave a trace. Next level knowledge, keeps you in the loop. Savant's got the scoop, ain't nothing to recoup.